in this community, whether it's Cherry Hill or any other place in the city of Baltimore, has to end.
Charging documents say the 1-year-old's father told police he picked up suspect Cornell Harvey before the shooting at Harvey's request. He was directed to Cherry Hill so that Harvey could talk to a girl. Once there, Harvey then paced outside the car, and the girl told the father, just a little longer, just stay here. Then the shooting happened. No female has been charged. Reporting live tonight from police headquarters, I'm Jane Miller, WBAL TV 11 News.
Welcome back. And, of course, that was courtesy of WBAL, talking about the unfortunate death of the 16-month-old Carter Scott in the city of Baltimore, the beginning of the Memorial Day weekend. But we'll stay tuned, see if there's a candlelight vigil for the child, as there were vigils and bells rung for the death of those children in Newtown and Aurora, Colorado, and other parts of the country. But the question will be, will we see those kind of activities from your mayor? Will we see that kind of lead from, who's the council person out there? Is that Reisinger? Will we see those kind of activities from Reisinger? That's the question we're going to have to ask and wait and see. Will we see those kind of activities from the head or the city council representative of Cherry Hill and Ed Reisinger regarding the death of this young baby, again, Carter Scott, shot and killed in the city of Baltimore on Friday night. But as I said before, I know many and plenty of you, don't care because it's Memorial Day weekend. I'm trying to go get my happy hour, Brother Muhammad. I'm trying to go get my drink on. I'm trying to go get my hot dogs. I'm trying to find out who having the next barbecue and cookout. I'm trying to find out where I can go get the next hookup and next connect in the city of Baltimore. I'm trying to go get me a lady, or I'm trying to go get me a man. I'm trying to go get me some coochie coupons, and I'm trying to go get my drink on. I don't care about what happened to a 1-year-old in the city of Baltimore. Tell it's your nephew. Tell it's your grandson. And tell it's your child. Then you want us to care. As your mayor showed, that all these murders that's been occurring in the city, she never tweeted about any of them, but then have a relative or distant relative supposedly shot, and then all of a sudden she says she cares. So all life has value in the city is what we're saying. So your mayor has to grow up. Your police commissioner has to grow up. And many of your members on the city council have to grow up as well. And then perhaps when there's some tragedies that strikes your family and citizens in the city, black, brown, red, yellow, and white, they'll begin to show up. But if they only show up if it's somebody that lives in a certain zip code and someone else of a certain complexion, then it clearly lets you see that your mayor, your city officials, your congressperson, your senators are literally saying that your life doesn't matter in the city of Baltimore. But speaking of life that doesn't matter in the city of Baltimore, let me get into this story from, again, the Baltimore Brew, talking about this 42% rate hike that will be taking place. Before I open up the lines, there's 42% rate hike that's going to be taking place. And I know some of you say it's not a rate hike, it's a rape hike. It's a RAPE, a rape hike that's going to be taking place against the citizens in the city of Baltimore at a time when we, of course, found out. But I've always shared that with you, so this is no more than vindication for Brother Muhammad, that we got businesses, or we have businesses, for some of you want to be politically correct. We have businesses in the city. We have corporations in the city that do not pay water bills, as we found out, and perhaps get a waiver on their water bill from the Department of Public Works, from your mayor, from your city council president, when it comes to them paying off their water bill, and they would not dare put a lien on their water or even cut their water off. But when it comes to the ordinary average citizen in the city, particularly black, particularly the elderly, and brown and red and yellow and white, then you find your house being snatched away from you and sold off and perhaps torn down because they want to build a lot. You don't need a lot, you need a home. Damn, a lot. We got plenty lots around here. We got enough lots around here. We don't need no lots. They tell me there grows the neighborhood. They're gonna tear your house down with all that bad land, with all that sediment, that poisonous sediment under the land. They're gonna tell you they're gonna give you a fresh garden now. You ain't got no fresh land, so how you gonna have a fresh garden? And then they sell that to you and get some fools pushing that, talking about we need a cleaner, greener neighborhood. Let's start with the clean neighborhood first before they start trying to push this green on you. And we see green, gangrene. We see plenty green in our neighborhoods, gangrene, by these same city officials, from your mayor and others who sat by and watched the neighborhoods go down, by these same institutions that sat by and watched these neighborhoods go down, by these same fake white liberals that sat back and watched the neighborhoods and the schools and the recreation centers go down. Now they come in like they Superman, when really they've been running around here like Lex Luthor. They've been running here like Lex Luthor with this kryptonite, this gangrene, watching the neighborhoods go down, watching the school system go down, and watching the city go down. But of course, that's prime for them to come in and snatch the homes and the properties for almost $0, or penny on the dollar, and then say now they can rebuild it, but you're not in the rebuilding plans. You're not in the master or masses plan for the rebuilding in the city of Baltimore. But let me get into this article as we're talking about these smooth criminals, man. We're talking about the smooth criminals. Before I get into your mayor officiating, again, the lobbyist wedding, I want to get into the fact that your mayor and those in the Department of Public Works are talking about a 42% hike in the water and sewage rate, which is planned over the next 2 years. There's a 15% increase set for July, and then 11% that's going to be in both fiscal years of 2015 and 2016. That, obviously no one has really stopped other than probably the Baltimore Brew to talk about it and the importance of having these public hearings, and you attending these public hearings as well when you have an opportunity to have your say. But oftentimes what you have seen and what they normally do, you come out to these hearings and you have your say, but at the end of the day, they have their way. And if she's talking about a 15% hike, then know that she probably wants to land at around 8%, 9%. And if she can get you hollering for 15%, your governor, she's learned from the best in your governor, Martin O'Malley. She'll say, okay, we're going to raise it 15%. Then say, no, okay, we'll do 8%. And they'll get these fake white liberals like Mary Pat Clark and some of the other ones talking about, I'm really fighting for the citizens of Baltimore. And then they'll say, we cut a deal with the mayor. We cut a deal that we only going to go up 9%. And then the citizens say, woo, thank goodness it wasn't 15%. Well, 9% might have been their goal all the time. But the question, as I've said before, where are those civil rights organizations? Where are the fake white liberals? Where are those that will be willing to take your mayor to court and take the city of Baltimore to court to say, look, wait a minute, in Baltimore County, they're not going up in their water rate at this rate. They're not going up in Howard County. They're not going up in Anne Arundel County. They're not going up in Carroll County. So why is it Baltimore City, which already pays the highest property taxes and everything else, now you got to be forced to foot the bill for everybody else who uses more water around you except you. As I said before, you use more water than the Oreos waste, or you waste more water than what the Oreos use. But yet the Oreos don't pay a water bill. If you call down there and ask Mr. Angelos, the Ravens don't pay a water bill. I don't think the Baltimore Zoo, after they had that so-called $500,000 water bill, can you imagine that? The animals at the zoo living better than you? The animals at the zoo are living better than you when it comes to the water bills? Oh, Mr. Don Hutchison and the animals at the zoo living better than the citizens in the city? But your mayor and your city council president, of course, they have to vote on it. And, of course, they'll try to pass the buck and say it's not what they decided to do, but it's something that has to be done because you have an aging infrastructure, while at the same time they're privatizing services in the city to these companies like Spinello and Wash and others that are now coming in. But they've been here. It's not like they're just coming in. They're just continuing what Martin O'Malley did with these public-private partnerships as well. And then as you follow the money, you begin to see that it's those that perhaps give money to the mayor that are getting these kind of, again, benefits, or getting these type of deals, sweetheart deals, as we saw also at the Baltimore Brew with this article about Kevin Johnson's company. Let me see if I can pull this one up, share it with you. Time won't allow me to give you all of the article, but if I can pull the article up and get a chance to see this article with Kevin Johnson, who's gotten a building from the city of Baltimore without having to put up a dime. So when they tell you that they don't have dollar homes, I think they're kind of right. They got homes less for $1. They got businesses less than $1 that you can receive as long as you maybe make some campaign donations to the mayor of the city of Baltimore. So the question would have to be, where's the state special prosecutor, Davitt, who, of course, went after Delegate Tiffany Alston, went after former Anne Arundel County exec Leopold for the misuse of drivers and the misuse of county personnel. But here's your mayor in the city of Baltimore giving away city land and city property for someone who just gave a donation or a campaign donation. And this is no different than what we saw, of course, with Sheila Dixon and what we saw with Helen Houghton and John Paterakis and Ron Lipscomb. This is no different. So the question is, where is the state special prosecutor who's supposed to investigate these kind of shenanigans, that are supposed to investigate these kind of deals that are above the level, above the table and below the table as well as it relates to, again, this company. Let's see if we can find the article here. Again, not that one. Politically plugged-in drywall contractor gets city building with no money down. Let's see if we can give you just a little bit of this article, and then you don't be too lazy. You can go online and read it for yourself. But again, politically plugged in is someone who's gotten this property from the mayor and the city of Baltimore without putting down any significant money. So that's pretty interesting that you would have that take place. It says politically plugged in drywall contractor gets city building with no money down. The BDC approves the sale of a warehouse to Kevin Johnson for a planned mixed-use complex that may be too ambitious to succeed. Let me give you a little of this before I get into this living La Vida Loca, going to Las Vegas to officiate a wedding. And I believe there was a big convention that took place, and there was 11 officials who were making their rounds at the shopping center convention in Las Vegas. This is a must-read and analyze article here, but let me get into this article about Commercial Interiors, which is the company that's founded and owned by Kevin M. Johnson. Last I checked, I think he's on the President's Roundtable. But it says the Baltimore Development Corporation unanimously voted to sell for no money down a block-long empty warehouse appraised at $455,000 to a company controlled by a politically connected businessman. See, this is what Mayor Kwame Kilpatrick went to jail for. This is what other mayors in other cities have gone to jail for when you just come in. Because know that the mayor had to sign off on this deal. Baltimore Development Corporation is not a city agency. The Baltimore Development Corporation is not a city agency. It's the quasi-public-private shadow government agency that was set up by old William Donald Gafer before he left office, when they knew that blacks was going to come into political power as far as mayor. And how do we circumvent and water down their power? We'll set up these dumb agencies that will really control the city of Baltimore finances. That's how it got into place when you look at these agencies or businesses or organizations or shadow government entities that were set up. But Commercial Interior, a drywall company founded and owned by Kevin Johnson, was awarded the building for $180,000. So there goes your taxes that your mayor's talking about while they're fleecing you. They let people like Kevin Johnson, and the question is, who is he really working for or fronting for, as we continue to find out. But with a $275,000 of the appraised value taken off for future demolition costs. But following this demand not to pay for more than $20,000 in cash for the property, the BDC board today agreed to accept a no-interest-bearing note from Johnson's company, which would be due upon his sale of the property to a third party. So the question, as I said, who is he really working for? Because Johnson hopes to develop the Hendler Creamery site around the warehouse into a mixed-use 250-unit complex and is planning to use historic tax credits. He can't legally sell the property for 5 years after it is developed. Wait and see. Thus, he wouldn't pay the city the $180,000 due on the warehouse located at 1107 East Fayette Street. Get that address down, check a look as you were driving by, which, of course, is right up the street from the city health department, 1107 East Fayette Street, until 2020 at the earliest. Still in the preliminary design stage, the project doesn't have any firm completion data, but it goes on and says $8,750 in campaign contributions to the mayor. Founded in 1990, Johnson has built his drywall company into one of the largest in the Baltimore area. It is now part of an umbrella corporation, the Commercial Group, also owned by Johnson. Goes on to talk about a big boost in his company was securing the construction management for the Maryland Live Casino, opened at Arundel Mills by David Cordish and the Cordish Company. Johnson has been a prolific contributor to local Politicians, including to Mayor Stephanie Rawlins Blake, doing her rapid rise from city council member to the city's chief.